Hello, welcome to another set musings. So, we're on to Zendikar Rising. I'm going to try my best with this set. There's a lot going on, and I will try and unpack things as I go along. So I think what I'll do is I'll just scroll through this, and while I'm doing that I'll just chat about the themes, the mechanics, the keywords, the ability words to look out for, and then we'll get on to some other things about the set because they're important at this point in time and going forward. Okay, so in here, the various themes and mechanics. Lands are a thing. I suppose you'd expect that with a reference to Zendikar. There's creature class tribal, so there's sort of groups of creatures together in certain ways. There's party. There's modal double-faced cards, and we'll get on to exactly what that means. There's something called two-brid mana, which is not a new thing. So two-brid mana would have been around the time, I suppose, of Lorwyn. So it's a variation on hybrid mana. So it's one where you get, say, two of any colour and then a specific colour as hybrid mana, but we'll be revisiting this specifically on certain cards, so it'll be easy to see. And another thing is this enters the battlefield attach equipment mechanic. And just while I'm here, those are the modal double face cards. Now in terms of keywords and ability words, we've got returning things here. We've got kicker, we've got landfall. Now the set size, so again we're into this world of extended artwork, showcase cards. Things get a little blurry because we've got masterpieces in the set as well. But in terms of the actual set without the masterpieces, so 280 cards in boosters, 101 commons, 80 uncommons, 64 rares, 20 mythic rares, 15 basic lands, 9 borderless cards, 24 showcase cards, 66 extended art cards, 5 regular frame lands, because I'm assuming from that those, well, we'll see when we get to the basic lands how that breaks down. Let's not spoil anything too much. A buy a box promo, a bundle promo, so those, if you ever bought a bundle, you were getting those single cards inside a wrapper and they were foil cards. And then 5 dark frame promos. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about is the sort of crazy things that were going on with boosters or draft boosters. So you have draft boosters, you have theme boosters, you have collector boosters, and you have set boosters. There's the bundle, there's 2 commander decks, there's a special gift edition of the bundle which is released in November of 2020. The set has new welcome boosters. Yeah, you get the picture. So it looks like they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this. We've also got secret lair drops, which I've never mentioned before, but there was a showcase Zendikar revisited secret lair drop, which was timed to coincide with the release of Zendikar Rising. Also, there was this thing called the list. So Zendikar Rising introduced set boosters targeted at players that aren't interested in draft or limited, and they sold for a higher price than the draft boosters. It says here each pack comes with 14 objects, 12 of which are magic cards. One of the objects in the set booster is an art card. Art cards were last seen in Modern Horizons. In 25% of the set boosters, there were cards of the list, and they can be found instead of a marketing card. And the list is a changing catalogue of 300 cards from older sets. They're not standard legal. In addition, in 5% of the set boosters, the marketing card is replaced by a mini-game card. And on top of that, bear in mind we have this separate set, if you like, of the Zendikar Rising expeditions. And they were similar to the Priceless Treasures and the Zendikar expeditions that we saw before they started doing things like, showcase cards and those sort of things. So yeah, 30 expeditions in total, all of which are lands, and they include all 10 fetch lands. They don't randomly appear in booster packs. Instead, they're only available as box toppers and in collector boosters in foil. So yeah, ton going on here. And yeah, we get down here and you can see, so a bit of a reverse situation here in some respects. So we've got 3 full art versions of the various colours of land, and then colours of mana, and then we've also got one each of like regular artwork. So it's a bit of a flip there from other Zendikar sets. Here's our borderless planeswalkers, 3 of those. Here's our alternate art borderless cards, 6 of those. Here's our 24 showcase cards. So again, with the showcase cards, they have these sort of set specific inner borders, and those are unique set to set where they feature those. Here's our extended artwork cards. And you can see they simply extend out here and here. And we've seen these before. And I think when I first saw them, I made the comment that in some colours of mana, just because of the way the artwork looks as well, it almost looks like a misprint, like, that something's gone wrong here, because the border that doesn't always blend well, I think, with the artwork. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So quite a few of those. Oh, there's our buy box. There's our, has these as promo cards in Scryfall. So this would be the, what do they call it? The dark frame promos, and the, what's the previous one here? So this would be the bundle promo. There you go. You can see pack promo, bundle promo. And there was a card variation. I don't know if I mentioned that. Oh, additionally, if you're playing online, there were alchemy cards as well, which I haven't specifically mentioned. These are always fun to try and screen out from the set. I don't normally worry too much about that. I mentioned the expeditions. I thought I'd take a look at them, even though they're treated as a sort of separate entity. They have this, alternate set code where instead of ZNR there's ZNE, and there's 30 of those. You can see I've got the dual lands, and then to make up the rest, because you can see by the number there's 30 cards. So here you go. So more. So we've got a couple of different types of dual lands here, and then additionally we've got some other non-basics as well in amongst these. If you're curious, there's 109 cards with numbers above the dear, something's going bing here. Yeah, above the draft booster numbers, so above 280. Ten reprints. We've got 271 cards which are not reprints. Yeah, if you wonder what the binging is, we've got a bit of an ice storm at the moment here, or we've had one overnight. So those are alarms I have. So I don't have many alarms I set on my iPad, but the weather alarms come up. So that's what that is. So I apologise if that interferes. So we have 14 cards here where the colour identity is completely colourless. We got no specific colours in the casting cost, and there's no colours in any activation costs in the rules text. That's not to say it doesn't mention a colour for another reason, but yeah, nothing in any mana costs. So nothing in the set where we have colourless, or is colourless in the casting cost, so no colours in the casting cost, but then a colour in anywhere in the rules text. 197 monocolour cards. So if there is a colour down here, it's the same as the casting cost colour. And this is what I was talking about, these two brids. So this is what's referred to as a two brid. You can see here. So with this you can opt to, instead of paying, you know, specific colours here as an alternate, you can pay any other combination of two colours. So obviously if you don't have all the colours here and you try and cast this using others, it makes this, or not cast it, activate this ability. You activate this ability, it's going to cost more. So interesting here, you've got this 5 colour identity card where one of the colours is in the casting cost and the remaining colours are in an activation cost, and they're also 2 brid mana. So yeah, I don't think we've ever seen this before with a commander with the 2 brid thing. I mean, I've seen other ones where it's a colour up here and then some sort of Wooburg shenanigans going on down here. So we have 27 2-colour cards in the casting cost, and within this will be the draft indicators. You can see there's certain cards here mixed in from Alchemy. Nothing where 2 colours in the casting cost and then more in the more in the colour identity. And then interesting, we have this Omnath, which is a 4-colour Omnath, red, green, white, blue. So no black here. Going through the different creatures, and I'd mentioned about, you know, this creature class tribal. So let's see, when we do our slice through the different creatures in the different colours, what starts to pop out. So in white we've got a number of hybrid, whatever you want to call it, types, where we've got a combination of more than one types here. Type. So human, angel, we've got clerics. So we're seeing a lot of clerics in white here. We've got a mouse, core warrior, angel warrior. So wizard. So yeah, a lot of cleric subtypes and warrior subtypes in white. We've got some core as well, which we're on Zendikar, so. And then there's the multicoloured cards. Also you can see the two versions here. I don't always screen those out when I'm doing this run through, simply because sometimes you get some interesting things crop up. These are on Scryfall slightly differently. That's why they pop up. So going through here, what have we got? Merfolk, wizards, shapeshifters, elementals. Ooh. Yeah, so some wizards here. Here's these two-face modal cards, which we'll talk about later. And then moving into black, you got rogues. A zombie bat, a crocodile snake, some vampires here, shades, and then our two colour stuff. It's pretty cool, plant skeleton. Moving to red, another elemental. Minotaur, human wizard, human warrior, goblin warrior. Lots of warriors. A few goblins. Nice. Lots of surfing going on here by the look of things. And then in green, oh, good old ooze. Beasts, insects, elf wizards, snakes. It'd be interesting to see when I do the artwork video. I've not been through my my singles yet to see what I pulled, so it's going to be exciting. There's some nice looking elementals in here. Pretty cool. Right, so big stuff. 6 cards where the mana value is greater than 6. I mentioned about a land theme here. 61 which have the card type land, and you think, well, this is a bit strange. Well, these also the double face ones here, were the modal spells from the set. And these were interesting in that I think this was the first time they'd done this with double face cards, where you could choose how to utilise these. So do you utilise them as a spell, which you can see here, or as I flip them, do you utilise them as a land instead? And there was a massive cycle of these, or massive cycles, which we'll go through in a moment. But I just wanted to just show you how many in here. Obviously we've got, within that 60, we've got the other lands here. So let me just screen out that, because I didn't think that through. So I'm going to take out the basic lands. So that nets off those. So we're left with 46. And now probably it's a little bit clearer. So if we scroll down anywhere. So there we've even got these sort of double lands as well, where they're lands on both sides. So yeah, some have type of land on both sides, and some have a land and a spell on each of the sides, and then there's 3 down here which are actually just non-double-faced cards. But that was an interesting thing to see. Like I said, I don't think we've seen double-faced cards before, but not these modal double-faced cards. Just checking that, see if I've got that right. Yeah, Zendikar Rising. So when you play a modal double face card, you choose which face you're playing. The right side of the card has a single triangle. I don't know if that was clear. Can you see that? There. And then the other side has this double triangle and a different card frame. And on these, you can also see that I tend to have at least one, any modal double face cards. And I'm not sure going forward how often they've revisited this. But, they had at least one permanent on one of the sides. But no doubt we will see these again in later sets. So there were 165 creatures in the set. Remember I said that it was, there was a lot of creature action going on, creature class tribal. So we have clerics, 25 of those, and some of that's going to include possibly cards from alchemy. We have 32 warriors. Yep, there we go. 27 cards here, and you can see some of these again are the alchemy versions. So we got wizards. We have rogues. And that's it. So just recapping: rogues, wizards. Was this one? This was warriors. Yeah, warriors come out to play, and clerics. Party was in the set, so with party, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Your party consists of up to 1 of each cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. And you can see the context in which party was leveraged was different. So on that card, it affected the cost. You've got other cards where it affects the power, +1/+1 counters, and you can see that across, looks like all the colours, including 2 colour cards. So 36 cards that were double faced, and as I've already pointed out, for those at least one of the sides was a land on there, and in some instances there was a land on each side. Yep, 2-brid mana was a thing, and these equipment that when they entered the battlefield you could attach it directly, so an ETB attach equipment. There's 8 of those cards with that particular mechanic on it. We've got 41 cards with kicker. So with kicker you may pay an additional 1 and a blue as you cast this spell. We have 27 cards which have landfall on them. And with the kicker costs, I didn't specifically mention it, but you'll notice some of these have got like a coloured kicker and some mana of any colour. There, so you just pay this. You pay an additional 2 as you cast the spell, and then if you kick it, you get sort of an enhancement to what it does. With landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get something. And you can see with all that modal land floating around, yeah, things can get crazy. So let's go through the cycles here, see what we have. So cycle of 5, there's 5, obviously, cycle of 5 here. We're going to see some what are called double cycles, but most of the cycles I'm going to be talking about are either 5 or 4, because it gets a bit weird in this set because there's cycles around classes of cleric, wizard, rogue and warrior. So if we have a look, we will see that these are mythic rare creatures with keybirds abilities as well as spelled out abilities. You can see their casting cost is pretty variable there. We have 4 mythic rare legendary creatures and 1 mythic rare planeswalker, each having a converted mana cost of 3 or more. The mythic legendaries, I believe they were called. We've got this weird thing, these inscriptions. So it was only a partial cycle, of rare non-permanent modal spells with a kicker ability that allows the controller to choose multiple options. So only in blue, black and green. We're missing 2 other colours. And then we get these cycles based around classes. So we're only going to see 4 of these, 1 for each of the cleric, wizard, rogue and warrior class. So we have a cycle of relics. You can see they reference a particular class. We have a cycle of expeditioners again. So going across cleric, wizard, rogue, warrior. White, blue, black, red. These were called full party creatures, I believe. Well, that's how they refer to them in MDG Wiki. 4 rare creatures, 1 for each of the party class types, are the only cards that trigger an ability while controlling a full party. And we have this one. It's a bit of the the odd one out in that it's white blue. So the other thing to note with these cycles is they weren't always along colour lines. So the rogue card wasn't always black. It could be black, it could be blue, it could be red, because as we saw when we went through the different colours with the different creatures, some of these classes spanned multiple colours, so probably all of them did actually. Common tertiary creatures, again 1 for each party class, are the only representative of their class at common, and for the non-red creatures the only representative playable in monocolour. So also with these, the cycle itself, the themes get a little bit wobbly here. Uncommon mirrored pair creatures, so 2 here, so 8 in total, 2 for each party class. And they sort of built around a particular play style. So life gained for clerics, spell casting for wizards, saboteur abilities for rogues, and equipped creatures for warriors. And that was something else to note. There was that sort of play style associated with the different classes. And then we've got 8 common party ability creatures, 2 for each party class, and each has a party scaling ability. So again, 2 for clerics, 2 for wizards, 2 for rogues, 2 for warriors. And also they spanned colours. So you've got, Shepherd of Heroes, which is a cleric, alongside Malakir Blood Priest, which is also a cleric. So white and black. Where is it? Cascade Sheer, Seer blue. And then the other wizard was the red one. Drana's Silence here, which is the rogue. Here's the other rogue in blue. And then Grotag, which is your warrior, alongside the other warrior here in white. And now we move on to all these modal double face cards. So you have the mythic sorceries, cycle of those, and then you flip them over. That's what's on the other side. Your land. You have your rares, cycle of rares, which are double faced, and again with these, land on one side, spell on the other. Then we have our uncommon cycle, so the uncommon modal spells with lands on the other side. And they were all actually creatures, with some of these some are creature spells and some are non-creature spells on the flip side, as you've seen. Then a few of these, there was quite a number, so in the sort of uncommon spell slot where there's spells on one side and land on the other, there's actually 15 of those, so there's 3 cycles. But as you can see, they're all non-creature spells. They're all instants and sorceries, actually, on one side. And then the other side, we have the corresponding other modal part, which is the land. So when you think about it, you know, the set as a whole, massive amount of artwork in this set with everything. When you consider all the alternate art, all the modal flips. And we've got a couple of double cycles. We've got Cycle of Gold Legends. So these are all in 2 colours. And these loosely support the draft archetype. So these are a rare. Dual coloured legendary creatures. And then tighter to the archetype, because these are these cards we've been seeing for a while now. So this double cycle, they're always at uncommon. They're, I think so far, maybe we haven't, I mean one set it wasn't the case, but generally they're in 2 colours. In the vast majority when you look at all the sets they've been in. And they're a signpost for each draft archetype. There's actually a mega cycle in the set. These cycle of pathways. Now I've got the full cycle here across. So what actually happened was, you can spot here. So these were double-faced modal lands. Now, bit of a spoiler here, I suppose, in that you'll probably spot from the set symbols which ones are going to be coming up in a set. So you can see here and here. Obviously these are from the Zendikar Rising sets, but you'll probably be able to spot what particular set the mega cycle is completed in. So it's a set we haven't seen yet, but I thought I'd just include it so you can see here. If we take out that, we can see what we're left with in terms of what was actually in Zendikar Rising, he says. There we go. So 6 out of this. The other 4 are in a future set we're going to cover. Some vertical cycles. So we've got these. So each of these 3 creatures has a characteristic defining ability that makes them also a cleric, which makes them also a cleric, rogue, warrior and wizard, and can therefore fill any position in your party. Goblin rogues, vertical cycle of those with saboteur abilities. Oh, I did that twice, didn't I? I just went, yeah. That's the, don't know why I've got this twice, but never mind. And then for this, just to make it easy, because there was a few of these, and these are always difficult to search for. So there were some mirrored pairs: Skyclave, Shadowcat, Iridescent, Hornbeetle, Hagra Constrictor, Gnarlid Colony, Arkham Hellhound, Canopy Baloth, and Territorial Scythecat, and Prowling Felidere. And you can see here in the grid the commonality, or the mirrored commonality between the cards. 22 mythics in the set, and that includes here, you can see we've got the alchemy ones actually, so that's just 20 if you exclude the alchemy ones. We have 20 basic lands, and now you can actually see the full art and the regular art, whatever you want to call it, alongside one another, and sort of see which cards draw from the full art versions, or where the artwork is drawn from the full art versions. We've seen these all already, so there's 40 non-basics as a result of the modal lands, and additionally the three of these, although as you can see we've got alchemy card here as well. Yeah, for here I've sort of started to screen out the alchemy cards. So we've got 3 planeswalkers in the set. We have 19 legendaries that are not planeswalkers. We have 6 enchantments. We have 4 auras. And notice 2 of these are enchant lands. 1 is an enchant creature and 1 is a creature or a planeswalker. So I mixed it up a little bit there. 5 artifact creatures. 8 pieces of equipment. Remember what I said about these had these special ETB attachments. In this set. Then we've got 6 regular artifacts, of which a couple are legendaries here. We've got an interesting sort of modal. Well, see, yeah, this with these, okay, you know, it's pay the cost and then tap it, so you can't choose multiple options with this, but you can choose between them. 42 instants, so you're probably going to see amongst this kickers. You're going to see obviously a number of these are the modal cards, the double face modal cards. You can see a number of them, there's stuff relating to the different classes within here that we've spoken about, that also in turn relate to things like party in the set. Yeah, interesting. This must have been a tricky set to balance out, you know, with this whole double face modal, I imagine. Here's our sorceries. There's our mass removal. Notice it's non-land permanents. That's pretty busy actually. like this. It's cool. Oh, someone else surfing here by the looks of things. Surfs up. Back to the set as a whole. Don't think I need to add anything. The way it's all been sliced and diced, I think we've pretty much seen everything we need to see. I always include that just in case I want to recap over something, but I think we're good. So price-wise, again, I've got just everything mixed in with this. So this is the highest priced card, no surprise. It's like a full art one. And we've got these also. You can see it's one of the modal double face cards. We'll probably see quite a few of those bubbling up. So they're all above $20. There's the usual artwork for Agadim. Same for Seagate, Restoration. So yeah, it looks like the double face modal cards are top of the bill in terms of pricing. Oops, stop that from popping up each time, that can get annoying. So down to 14 now with these. Here we go, hovering around $14 here. 11, nearly there. Was that one? Wasn't 11, was it? Sorry, 12. You can tell by the grey line when you've got multiple entries like that. Oh, nice omnath. So interesting. We see this sometimes, like the price-wise, the regular omnath is slightly more expensive than this one. I like that. Oh, there's the promo. Wow. 11. Forsaken Monument. Colourless creatures you control get +2/+2 whenever you tap a permanent for colourless mana. Add an additional colourless. Whenever you cast a colourless spell, you gain 2 life. And there we go. So that's our drop-off point. We're now below $10 with the full art, whatever they call this. I more think of it as the bleed art, because with full art I just always associate it's going to be like all the way down in here. So I never quite know. Oh, is this extended art? I'm getting the terminology right. So these are the extended art as opposed to the borderless cards or the full art or whatever. So yeah, extended art. Let's get our terms correct here. Okay. Looking at EDH Rec ranking for the new cards, here's what sort of bubbled to the surface. So you can see mixed in here, and again, no surprise, we've got these modal cards. You know, would be great utility index. Interesting. Okay. Here's our reprints. Negate was in the set. Lotus Cobra, Disenchant, Tormenting Voice, Into the Royal. It's going to be interesting when we look at them alongside what's bubbled out. Do we think it's negate? Well, sort of giving it away there by hovering over, but yeah. Negate, then Feed the Swarm. And then a number of other newer cards at the time, and then Lotus Cobra. This is a reprint from the original Zendikar. And it's cropped up in Iconic Masters as well. So yeah. Cat beasts. Going our cat deck, if indeed it didn't last week, or a cat and dog tribal. And then legendaries, and these can, again, just to clarify, on this list, it's anywhere, like in the deck as a whole. So, and top of the pile is a Shire, Soul of the Wild. So, moving on to some other stuff surrounding the set. This was the set which, or it was a set where instead of having Planeswalker decks, we had Commander decks. And if you remember, they were printing 2 Commander decks. And I might be wrong here, so feel free to correct me in the comment section. But this coincided with, what do they call it, the Year of Commander. And as a consequence, I think these decks were slightly cheaper than a Commander deck would usually be. At that point in time, they changed that, obviously. But yeah, these were, an interesting thing to buy. And I think I bought all of these that year, in addition to the yearly Commander products. There was the Zendikar Rising Expeditions, which I had already mentioned. And if you want to specifically look at the Commander decks, so these were, I suppose, the bar was set slightly lower on these, if you remember. So with the yearly one, although it was a way of getting people into Commander, these particular ones where they were doing 2 per set, and it went over to being, all the time, and I think we looked at the set where it first started, which I believe is Ikoria. Was that the first? No, that was still, that was where they started naming it, but this still had the full complement of 5 decks in it. So was this the point that they fully switched over? Yeah, so anyway, I've sort of digressed a bit, but you can see there weren't many new cards in here, and they were also doing that thing, and again I've mentioned this before, where they were having set symbols where the card in the deck came from the set that it aligned with. So yeah, there's this slight interesting variation in the symbols on the deck. So they don't have like the symbol, like a commander symbol, all the way through for the particular commander product specific to that product. They have, some of them have a contemporary set symbol for the set that they're associated with. And it worked nice for me when I was doing unboxings, because I could straight away spot which cards belonged under which category, if you like. So which were reprints, those sort of things. Again, I think they were doing something interesting with the numbering as well, so to try and line that up in some way. So today's episode of Commander Durdle, let's do this. So yeah, I decided to go with Tazri, seeing it was an unusual card. And I'll go through the cards individually, but what I've done is included, between 1 to 3 cards in various categories. I don't have specifically any artifacts in here from the set, so these are all from the set. And then with the creatures, I've got slightly more in here as well. So we've got cards that fall into this sort of category theme of the set, of this party stroke class tribal, and I'll go through those individually as well. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in the next video.